of these inner lamps are lit. These inner lamps are the fire in our soul, the light in our souls. And the life's cherished guests are left outside. That's all our worldly stuff. Okay. Our friends, our relationships, our daily routines, eating, sleeping, all of that. Life's cherished guests. So you can begin.
Okay. We start after concentration.
Yes.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and life's cherished guests are left outside.
Yes, you missed the word the. And the life's cherished.
And the lives. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks into its gulfs.
No. Our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs, not into its gulfs.
Okay. I'll read again.
Focus a little bit more on the lines before you read them.
Okay. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives.
Not bad. I thought invading could have been a little bit more focused. Invading from spiritual silences. Ray of the the ray of the timeless glory invades from spiritual silence. What in an invasion? We know what an invasion is. It's a strong coming into something. An invasion of one country of another. So this ray of the timeless glory not only invades from spiritual silences, but it stoops a while to commune with us, our seized illumined clay. We are clay. We are basically clay. Sri Aurobindo uses that image very often.
Okay.
And many other poets do also. So
by the clay, they mean our entire embodiment as clay?
Yes.
Okay.
Begin in moments again. And tell me with all your heart what it means.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of timeless glory stoops.
Okay, let's stop you right there. A ray of the timeless glory. So a wider consciousness opens then its doors, semicolon.
Okay, so I pause.
Which means a slight pause, and then we have to say, invading from spiritual it's not invading from spiritual silences, it's invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives.
I begin again.
You cannot read Savitri as words. You have to catch the mantric rhythm of each line and how each line joins with another line and how all those lines will join in one sentence at times. So we have to learn proper English also.
Okay.
In moments.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside.
But why do you say are lit and you drop your voice at the end? In moments when the inner lamps are lit, they're lit.
Okay.
It's important. It's not lit.
Okay.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life cherished guests, see? Okay.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs.
Excellent.
A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of timeless glory stoops
A ray of
ray
the timeless glory.
A ray of the timeless glory stoops. I'll start again. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives.
Okay, we can carry on.
In the oblivious field of mortal mind.
I wouldn't accent in, I would accent oblivious.
Okay.
In the oblivious field.
In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs.
You want to accent the D a little better. And,
okay. In the moments when the inner lamp...
Not in the moments. In moments.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs.
Didn't have and. I heard an, not and.
And. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of timeless glory stoops, a ray of the... I don't know why I'm missing that the again and again. Again I'll start. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon upon our lives. I I'm also unhappy. Sorry. I do it again.
That's why we're here together, to work it out,
Okay.
to allow the mantra to enter into our souls without the necessity of the mind jumping in.
Mm.
And if we try to understand it with the mind, we make a mess of it.
Mm.
So we have to read it, ask Sri Aurobindo to read through us. Only way.
Mm. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the lives cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulls. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear.
Carry on.
The truth mind could not know unveils its face. We hear what mortal ears have never heard. We feel what earthly sense has never felt. We love what common hearts repel and dread. Our minds hush to a bright omniscience. A voice calls.
Okay, now I'll stop you there. And I didn't hear the D on and. Omniscient, not omniscient. T, omniscient.
Omniscient.
A voice, it's not a voice, it's a voice.
Voice. Okay. The truth mind could not know unveils its face. We hear what mortal ears have never heard. We feel what earthly sense has never felt. We love what common hearts repel and dread. Our minds hush to a bright omniscient. A voice calls from the chambers of the soul. We meet the ecstasy of the Godhead's touch in golden privacies of immortal fire.
Where did you learn your English?
I think just speaking, not a school in. Though I learned in English medium school, it was yeah, it was I think just picked up by speaking.
Mm-hmm. Because
So
privacy,
it's very colloquial.
but privacies is quite British, and it's correct.
Okay.
It's not privacies, it's privacies. So you pronounced it correctly, and I just wondered where you had studied.
So here, any more corrections?
No, actually, that was quite good. So after Immortal Fire, you could continue a little bit, and then we'll pick it up and discuss it a bit.
Yeah.
These signs.
These signs are native to a larger self that lives within us that lives within us by ourselves. I'll start again. These signs are native to a larger self that lives within us by ourselves unseen. Only sometimes a holier influence comes A tide of mightier surgings bears our lives, and a diviner presence moves the soul. Or through the earthly coverings something breaks, a grace and beauty of spiritual light, the murmuring tongue of a celestial fire.
Hmm. So I'm not quite feeling the flow.
I was also feeling a little bit like broken,
Yeah.
broken. So I do
Yes.
that again.
Okay.
In golden, that we finished, these signs are native to a larger self that lives within us by ourselves unseen.
And see, that's a little bit difficult, but it's not so difficult.
Hmm.
That lives within us by ourselves unseen.
Unseen. Yeah.
But it's unseen by ourselves, although it lives within us. Okay.
Only sometimes a holier influence comes, a tide of mightier surgings bears our lives, and a diviner presence moves the soul. Or through the earthly coverings, something breaks, a grace and beauty of spiritual light, the murmuring tongue of a celestial fire.
Quite good. So let's go through the whole thing. In these moments when we are focused on our inner being,
Hmm.
the inner lamps,
Hmm.
we leave these outward things aside. These cherished guests, these cherished guests, our talk with friends, our cell phones, our all of our interaction with the world. We leave that aside. It's left outside because our spirit then sits alone and it begins to speak to its gulfs. So we focus in the heart and we begin to feel the psychic presence. We speak to its gulfs. What happens when we do that? Then this wider consciousness opens its doors. Otherwise, if 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 we don't leave these guests outside, if we don't have the inner lamps lit, the wider consciousness won't come. But then it comes as a result of that. And what happens? We had a semicolon there, opened then its doors.
Yeah.
So what happens is that something invades from the spiritual silences, because now we're totally concentrated within and we are silent also. And what is that comes? It's a ray of the timeless glory. Now, this timeless glory is so vast that it has to stoop a while. It bends over. And there's one line where he says it bends over Earth's pondering forehead curve. So this glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay, our physical body. And it leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. So it's a very powerful experience because that white stamp is the divine presence. And that divine presence leaves its huge white stamp on our lives. And now he changes things a little bit, and he says, in the oblivious field of mortal mind, oblivious field of mortal mind, the mind is
not aware of any of this.
Not aware, no. Revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance. These prophet eyes of trance is the inner seeing. Revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange, immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear. That's how they appear. What happens then? There's a truth that mind is unable to know. And it unveils its face. We see it. So we see it, we hear what mortal ears have never heard, we feel what earthly sense has never felt, we love. But common hearts repel and dread. Powerful line. Our minds hush to a bright omniscient, because this is what silences our minds. This bright omniscient, this signal of eternity that reveals the truth mind could not know. We begin to hear things that human ears have never heard. For example, the music of the spheres, the voice of the Lord. We hear things, we hear the Om, sacred Om. It's extraordinary, this. And we feel what we have never felt with our earthly sense. We feel love that's totally without desire. We feel beauty that's indefinable. It's so vast and so perfect. And we love things that common hearts repel and dread. This is very difficult, this line, because what can we love that common hearts repel and dread? Ugliness. We can love ugliness. We can love evil. We can love everything because love is everything. And therefore our minds become silent in this bright omniscient.
Minds hush.
Yeah, it becomes totally silent. Would like to read a little more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe I just read what you just explained and then continue.
Sure.
Because now it also holds the meaning. So.
Okay, very good. Very good.
In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of timeless glory stoops.
Okay.
A ray of the timeless glory.
You missed this again, yes. But invading from spiritual silences doesn't do much for me.
Okay.
What happens from this spiritual silences? A ray invades us. Invading from spiritual silences. Invading is a powerful word here. We have to give it enough strength.
No, and also as you pronounce, I recognize that it can also be coming from my V pronunciation. V. So invading, the V is not coming out enough, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I will watch that.
Okay.
Invading from spiritual silences, a ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. Invading from spiritual silences, a ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear.
Give me just a moment and I'm going
Yes.
to check it. Pronunciation.
White, 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 white.
Okay, so British English says white. It doesn't say white. So you are correct.
No, but I looked it up. After you said while and whale, I looked it up, and they are categorizing it as old pronunciation and new pronunciation.
And the new one is without the hua.
Is without the hua.
Right, got it. That's what I just checked on white also.
Yeah. So now they are just pronouncing it as white and not hua because they think that's very old style of pronunciation. So, and I even saw a discussion between the new English and an old English, and the lady who speaks hua, she thinks that is right, and the new one says maybe, maybe not. So, so it's
I'm not also so sure, Prema, that we shouldn't hold to white
yeah.
because this was 1950. It was completed. Okay, that's 70 years ago. It was completed.
Yeah.
And much of it Sri Aurobindo wrote in the 40s.
Okay.
So I'm not too sure that we'll have to look into it a little bit more deeply.
Okay.
And listen, maybe Shraddhavan's reading would be the best because she reads it in British English.
Okay, I will listen to her. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Invading from spiritual silences, a ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized, illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes.
But it's in the oblivious field of mortal mind. It's not mind. You don't drop your voice at the end of the line.
Okay. In the oblivious field of mortal mind.
Yes.
Revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense. The signals of eternity appear.
But you see, you just read witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, and it didn't have any life in it. So in that deep internal solitude that is witnessed by this strange immaterial sense, what happens? The signals of eternity appear. So you have to carry that thought out and enunciate it with some slight intensity.
Okay. In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear.
Very good.
The truth mind could not know unveils its face.
Much better.
We hear what mortal ears have never heard. We feel what earthly sense has never felt. We love what common hearts repel and dread.
Yes.
Our minds hush to a bright omniscient.
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 Yeah, it ends with a T. Not see, we have omniscience and omniscience.
Omniscient. Our minds hush to a bright omniscient. A voice calls from the chambers of the soul. We meet the ecstasy of the gods. We meet the ecstasy of the Godhead's touch in the golden privacies of immortal.
In golden.
In golden privacies of immortal fire. These signs are native to a larger self.
Good.
That lives within us by ourselves unseen. Only sometimes a holier influence comes. A tide of mightier surgings bears our lives, and a diviner presence moves the soul. Or through the earthly coverings, something breaks, a grace and beauty of spiritual light, the murmuring tongue of a celestial fire.
Now, what has happened to you? What has suddenly happened to you? Now I'm feeling the lines.
Good, I'm happy.
What have you done, young girl? What have you done? You've been expressing to me so much more beautifully. You're not just reading words anymore. In these last lines, I understood.
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent. You can continue a little more and then we'll stop for today.
Ourself and a high stranger whom we feel, it is and acts unseen as if it were not. It follows the line of sempiternal birth. What does it mean, sempiternal?
Sempiternal. Sempiternal is from time to time.
Okay.
So, in other words, it's following the line of our births from long before.
Okay. It follows the line of sempiternal birth, yet seems to perish with its mortal frame.
Okay, so what happens here? He says, ourself and a high stranger whom we feel. Who is this high stranger whom we feel? It is and acts unseen as if it were not. It follows the line of sempiternal birth, yet seems to perish with its mortal frame. Well, it's our past lives.
Okay.
The soul in us.
Okay.
This high stranger whom we feel is our true soul. Now, Sri Aurobindo and Mother make a great distinction in the soul and the psychic being.
Okay.
The psychic being is an evolutionary force.
Okay.
It occurs when we take birth, sometimes. But if we've been here many, many times, it's already there in us, very clearly. But the soul is eternal. It neither lives nor dies. It's eternal.
Okay.
So this high stranger whom we feel, it is and acts unseen as if it didn't exist. And yet it follows the line of sempiternal birth, even though it seems to perish with the body. So here is the psychic being, which is the soul descending into the human form, and the psychic being is encased in this human body. Sri Aurobindo and Mother say it's just behind the heart. There's a beautiful line that Sri Aurobindo, a beautiful phrase, where he says, a veil behind the heart, a lid over the mind, keep us from the divine. Love and devotion rend the veil, and in the silence of the mind, the lid thins and vanishes. We'll stop there today. I think that's a good place to stop.
Okay.
You did very well. Towards the end, you were getting the feeling of the mantric lines, which are iambic pentameter. Iambic and I am, and I am is short, long, short, long. It was the hour before the gods awake. Short, long. Pentameter, 5 beats to the line. So iambic pentameter. He does change it at times, of course, but it stays within that feeling of the iambic pentameter.
Okay.
Good.
And you said psychic force. So when you were gesturing, the psychic force as within the body, and soul, you brought your hand above. So is it explained that the soul is above, from above, like the ourself and a high stranger whom we feel? So the soul is above and psychic is within.
Correct.
Okay.
The soul is eternal.
Yeah.
The soul doesn't take birth with our human body. It's the psychic being that does.
Okay.
Soul is our eternal soul, which is neither affected by anything at all. It is always there.
Okay. Yeah, and in I think many other references nowadays, how they call it the higher self or higher. I think higher self is what many times it's used nowadays in books and. Well, Matthias used to call pop spirituality. So I'm using his word of pop spirituality. Because anything other than Sri Aurobindo and Mother is pop spirituality for him. so he's in pop spirituality they use higher self. So I think here maybe a similar. She's here also. He's using ourself and a high stranger whom we feel so above. And yeah, okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Namaste. You did very well.
Thank you, Narad.